Hello there, Steve Rosse coming at you from Sydney, Australia once again. This is the second online tuba studio class in this presentation of 20. Here with Pixie in Sydney, just hanging out and doing some tuba stuff. So let's get started right away. Today we are going to blend together the meditation component and the breathing exercises component. I've had a lot of positive feedback from the first course, and thank you for that, asking to do more of the breathing and to work on articulation. So today we're going to go deep into the breathing, add some exercises, and then we're going to do some articulation. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to meditate and breathe with our tubas this time, or your trumpets, your horns, whatever instruments you might be playing. So let's get right into it. If you don't have your instrument in your hand now, hurry up. Come on, now, get going, all right? Okay, here we go. Now, when we take our air in, just like in the last session, we're going to be taking in positive energy, everything that relates to what we are doing now, being in the present for our instrument and for our mental and spiritual health and well-being, all wrapped up into one, all right? And then when we exhale, if there's any tensions or worries or stresses of the outside world, you're just going to blow it out. This is what the monks do when they meditate, so we're going to put this into tuba meditation breathing, combining it all at once so we can get some good work done today, all right? So we're going to take 3 big deep breaths, holding the tuba or the trumpet, whatever you're holding, and just blow onto the mouthpiece and be as big as you can, as relaxed as you can, and each time you're going to be bigger and deeper. There we go. Great. Now we've begun a connection with the instrument. Put your instrument in your lap. Have a seat if you're not seated. And we're going to take 15 deep meditation breaths, holding our instrument. And this time when you meditate, I want you to think of your favorite color, which is going to become the color of your sound. Think of the most beautiful sound you ever want to make. And listen to the sound of your breathing and relax. Relax physically. Relax mentally. All right, here we go. 15 of these. All right, that was about 2 minutes of that. If you want to go on further, doing 5, 10, even 30 minutes of this kind of breathing and meditation on your own, go ahead and pause right now and then come back to us, because myself now and the rest of us who want to move on now, we're going to go straight into air and articulation. And with air, we're going to go deep into the air. Deep, deep, deep into the air. So It's a good word to be thinking of, deep, especially if you're a tuba player. All right? Now, I've had some feedback and some requests to work on articulation. Now, in the English language, we can say articulate, we can say tonguing, we can say attack. Those of you watching this are from all over the world, and English is not the first language for many of you, possibly most of you. But for you English speakers and those who can get a translation, articulation is the best word to think of. Attack is a little bit aggressive, and it sounds like you're hitting something and whatever happens to that doesn't matter. Tonguing refers to the tongue. Now in brain training and thought process training, we want to think of articulation. If you think of articulation, it's basically clarifying speech, all right? So articulation merely just makes the notes clear. That's all it does. And to articulate, we use the tongue. So rather than think of tonguing or attacking, think of articulation. And the articulated note, in reality, is created by immediate sound from the lips, because the tongue makes no sound, right? So if I was to say Tuba, Tokyo, Tuesday, the tongue hardly makes any sound at all. But if I took the T out, I get Uba, Tokyo, Tuesday. You don't want to play like that. So articulation, all right? So let's apply that immediately into the airstream, and I'll want you to just mimic and copy me. So I'll explain as I go along, okay? 10 breaths, in and out. Here we go. Let's go deep. If you get dizzy, slow down. If you get really dizzy, stop. Air in. Air out. 9. Last one best. Great. So when we add articulation to this, we keep the air exactly the same. I'll give you an example. Right? Do that with me 5 times. 5 sets of 2. 5 pairs. Right. Anybody getting tingly hands or a lightheaded head? That's good. That means you've got oxygen going through all your body. And like we talked about in the last section, you have oxidation of the blood, feeds the brain, you're more alert, it's better than coffee. All right? We don't want to do too much because we don't want you to have a risk of passing out. So take it easy. This is not a macho thing. All right? Now, we're going to put this into playing, and we're going to blow in the air, do it on the tuba, blow it in the tuba, play the tuba. All right? So I'll show you what I mean. In an open G, for me, play a G, whatever instrument you have, concert G. Okay? All together. Okay? Now we're going to do this exercise, blowing, playing, blowing, playing. And we will go down chromatically. So whatever instrument you're playing, even if it's a flute or a piccolo, in case you happen to be joining, welcome, woodwinds. Concert G is where we're starting from. We're going to go down chromatically. Air, play. And remember, articulation is created by air in immediate response of the lips. So the air has to move continuously. The air does not do this with the tongue. Air and tongue are completely non-related. The tongue just goes up like this and flips very lightly, and the airstream will push the tongue back down, so you don't really need to use the tongue much. All right? So here we go. Ba, 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 ba. That's what we're playing. First the air. If any of you is getting water or condensation in your instrument, now's the time to empty it. Take a minute, empty it in a bucket or a plant or a tissue. I have all these plants around me and they live on my spit water from the instrument. Alright, I think this one behind me needs to be watered as well. You all do the same. You all should have plants in your practice area so you can water them with your instrument and you get oxygen from them. Alright. Moving on, seriously. C. This open C, concert C we ended on. This one. Air first and then playing. We're going to go down a full octave from here. So here we go. Deep breathing. If you get dizzy, take a break. Sit down. We don't want anybody falling over and hurting themselves. To a concert A, in case any of you are getting lost. As we're going lower for the big tubas, feel free to take breaths in the middle of this. Do, 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 do. That's great. The more air we use, the better. Air is our best friend and it's free. All right? E flat. You see sometimes when I'm blowing the air through, I'm mixing up articulating or just blow it straight. So you do that yourself. Now see? Going back up, just playing now. Great, how you're all doing? Do you notice how when we're playing coming up, it's basically just a breath in and a breath out, a breath in and a breath out, and with that breath out comes your playing. So think of that. Think of just breathing in and out, in and out, and along that rides your tuba sound, your horn sound, trumpet sound, and again, welcome winds, clarinet, flute, whatever you happen to be playing. All right, now we're going to put the instruments down and we're going to do a little breathing exercise. And for this, I need to stand up, and I've got a camera lady with me in isolation, my fiance Robbie. Anyway, she's going to hold the camera up with me. Are you holding it up? Here we go. Good. Breathing exercises can and should be standing up. So what we're going to do to emulate the air, as it will be with the tuba, because a big question I get is how do you take a very, very quick breath? And many of you will be asking already, since I just said that playing the tuba is just a part of breathing, you'll think, but you breathe out in long periods of time. So we're going to do an exercise. We're going to start with one beat in and one beat out. Here we go. Great. One beat in, two beats out. And the airing will be the same as before. Like I said, if you get dizzy, take a break now, pause, and then join in a few minutes when your head settles. All right? I'm going on. I'm in shape. Here we go. In on one, out on three. Again, if dizzy, pause, keep going. It's not a macho competition. Here we go. One. Wonderful. That's immediately put that to the instrument. Open G, the note we started with previously on the other exercise. I'm going to tap my foot for the metronome. One beat in, three beats out. The air is going to move exactly the way we did while I was standing up. Here we go. Since we're getting lower, we're going to keep with one beat in and three beats out, but we're going to now start working with softer dynamics. So let's play with a mezzo piano going out. Okay? Breathe in on one beat, mezzo piano out on three, starting from concert C, going down chromatically. Start this again because I think some of you out there weren't using the full beat to breathe. Here's an example of how not to do it. One. Use that full beat rest as a timed breath mark. If you're doing this with your friends, with other people, check each other and let them know. Okay? 1, 2. How'd y'all do? All right, you got an idea of this exercise. If you'd like to pause now with yourself or with your group, I advise you to do so and expand the range doing this exercise. All right, I'm gonna now jump into a little bit of a breathing lesson, another part of the breathing lesson. I like to incorporate breathing practice throughout the practice day. One of the more old-fashioned formulas from 10 years ago or so was to start your practice sessions with breathing. You might do an hour of breathing. I know people who did 3 hours of breathing. Then you take a break and you do mouthpiece buzzing for an hour or 3 hours. Then you do 5 hours of playing or 12 hours of playing. Macho, great, fantastic. But what happens is a lot of times when you've done the 3 hours of breathing or the 1 hour breathing or say 10 minutes of breathing and that's all, you start gradually going back into your old habits. So I like to throw in bits of breathing practices throughout the day. So if you're going to practice 6 hours in a day, I would say every 10, 15, 20 minutes, stop, do breathing exercises, stop. Whatever you're working on, breathe that through. So if it's Vaughan Williams and you're practicing that, just stop and go. Right? Or if you're a trumpet player and you're practicing the pictures at an exhibition opening, 20 minutes are up, hey. At the airspeed you would for the trumpet. All right, so now this is why I'm going to be injecting little breathing lessons, breathing exercises throughout our session. This is a bit of an anatomy lesson. I'm going to stand up, for my beautiful camera woman there. So I'm going to stand up and I have an anatomy question for you. Where are my lungs? In Japanese, hai wa doko desu ka? All right, for example. The lungs are where? All right, so when you did anatomy class in elementary school or primary school, you had the picture of, it was usually a man back in the days, and you have lungs here, heart, stomach. So from a child, we think of the lungs being here. You don't see a lot of anatomy pictures from here. And if you saw the anatomy picture from here, you'll see that lungs go all the way down to here. And as a matter of fact, these two sides here, this part of the lungs, is what holds most of the air, and this is where the weight and the power of the air comes from. So in breathing exercises, I always like to hold my rib cage here and fully to my back here, sometimes putting on a back here, back hand here, and you watch this big breath. You watch this big breath. I'm going to suck in half of this air of the room, and it's going to fill up my body, and you're going to see where it's going to go. Here we go. This is not a time to be self-conscious or vain about our waistline, all right? Whether you have a six-pack or not, this is going to stick out, all right? Because we want our lungs from down here to fill up as much as possible, and because we have ribs here, the back can only expand so far, and so the lungs are expanding and moving forward, so it moves everything you've had here, and I've just had lunch, so it's going to move out a little bit further for me than it normally would, so. And on top of that, I'm filling up with here, up in the armpits, things like that. If you think about how powerful the weight of air is, we talk about atmospheric pressure. The weight of an air lifts an airplane. An A380 gets lifted by the airplane, and the way that works is the wing is designed to throw air under the wing, which pushes it up because it's so heavy. So the air under the airplane wing is heavier than the airplane itself, as long as it's moving and can catch onto the air, okay? Our air works relatively the same way. We need speed like a plane does, and we're going to use that weight of the air that keeps a plane up to keep our sound going and our lips in business, all right? So I'm going to pause the video now. This will be the end of part A take a little break, have a drink of water, eat a boiled egg, have some nuts, banana, or whatever. Come back in about 5 or 10 minutes. We'll carry on for about another half hour or so. Don't miss the second session. I see from YouTube hundreds and hundreds of people doing the first session, the first part, not the second and third part. Be committed. Go to the end of this because the best stuff is yet to come. I'll see you in a few minutes.